As I'm writing this, I am still quite enraged by how disappointing Season 2 was. Firstly, it was bad. For how much I enjoyed Season 1 and anticipated Season 2, this was like a slap in the face. It felt like something was missing. I am not a movie critic. I don't know much about movies or film in general. So I tried to find someone who was able to put into words what I couldn't. I don't usually do this because I believe reading others' reviews of the show will sway my opinion of the show. But in doing so, I had discovered that the first season was made by Vicky, while Season 2 was made by Netflix. Now, am I about to blame all the failures of Season 2 on Netflix? Absolutely. All the same writers and directors from Season 1 worked on Season 2. So what exactly disappointed me? The whole thing, but let's break it down. Firstly, the characters. Obviously, we have a new cast, and I don't really care that they're new, but they all lack development, and that's because the pacing is off. I don't know where we are rushing to, that we have to skip out on what made Season 1 the star it is. But here we are. What in the fuck was going on with Na Baekjin and Park Hoo-min? They were childhood friends. Baekjin was bullied for being an orphan, which I had learnt from Reddit, not even the show. Hoo-min taught him how to fight, and then he used it for corruption, and they stopped being friends because of this. Baekjin joins the union and is like obsessed with getting Yoonjong Hoo-min's school to join the union. Why, you may ask? Because even Sungji asked, and this buffoon just said, "Do I need to explain?" Like, yes, you absolutely do. Am I, as a viewer, supposed to believe IQ 3000 over here is only doing this for friendship, and that he truly believes blackmailing his friend will make him genuinely want to hang with him again? Even if he did all this in an attempt to corrupt Hoo-min, to really stick it to him or whatever, was I supposed to be scared or something? They also shoved in that last-minute orphanage stunt to farm sympathy. Like, girl, please miss me with that. With all that has been said, the majority of the show is taken up by Park Hoo-min and Na Baekjin's stupid friendship tug-of-war based on a narrative I'm not brain-dead enough to believe. So I was just laughing throughout the entire series. I couldn't believe anything the show had put in front of me, nor did I feel attached to any character. You cannot make me care for Na Baekjin. At least there was some humanity to Bom-seok. They didn't just suddenly show his dad abusing him in episode 7 and expect us to be like, wow. No, this makes him so much more understandable and pitiful. It was something. It was built slowly and subtly with all the bullies at his previous school that would call him and berate him. They'd taunt him. It was in the way he clung on to Suho and Seyeon, in how we were shown how much he'd contemplate texting Suho and how he'd check every day if he had followed him back, how he'd overcompensate with money because that's all he believed he could bring to the table. In the end, you could understand. Even if you didn't want to, you could understand Bom-seok. What is there to understand about Baekjin? Why should I care about him being murdered in the end? What exactly do we know about Baekjin? Other than the fact that he was bullied, he's smart and an orphan, which they didn't bother to enforce. How exactly did they tie any of this together to create a motivation that I can definitively say Baekjin was pursuing? I'd even take a crappy, he's trying to be big and bad so they never pick on him again narrative. Like, at least give me something to latch onto, please. Now there's his bestie, Hoo-min. They gave me absolutely no reason to even care about him either. I was interested in whatever was going on with his dad. We can most definitely see that he is neglectful and somewhat blames everything on Hoo-min. That Hoo-min is almost a father figure to his father. That he is a parent of his parent. I think that's an interesting narrative. But of course, I don't know if the writers are allergic to developing their characters, backstories, or maybe I'm just the slow one who can't read between the lines to see what exactly they are spelling out. Either way, that's about it for Hoo-min. My interest starts and ends with his home life, but since they were more preoccupied with this narrative of Na Baekjin and Hoo-min's friendship, we didn't get to see any development on that side. Human was practically God. This man was knocking people out with a single punch. There is nothing at all to worry about. And if they had actually attempted to create villains that would instill a sense of fear, then I wouldn't be here typing all this nonsense. But alas, he literally got smacked in the back of his head with a crowbar. Mind you, the crowbar was moving at high speed, so the force on that was most definitely enough to knock someone out, and yet my boy Human was up and beaten people without so much as a second of unconsciousness on the ground. I know I'm exaggerating and being dramatic, but I'm genuinely disappointed in this second season, and it's pissing me off. At least in season 1, Suho seemed human. He had his limits. He wasn't some guy who could take people out with one swing. He still was a great fighter, but he'd take hits, and they'd actually do damage. They knocked his ass out in episode 3. My man was out cold and tied up like it was over for him. That instills fear in the viewer, because you know damn well Bom Seok is useless, and Seon definitely cannot defeat them on his own, even with his wits and persistence. And because of this arc later on when he was sparring with the UFC guy, it was actually stressful, because we as the viewers know that our greatest player can in fact be taken out. Now that scene becomes incredibly stressful. I am sad in suspense, in fear. Where'd all that writing disappear to? Were there actually even villains in this show? The only man that was actually scary barely ever showed up. I understand that this dude was just bait for creating the union of the 4 boys. Nobody in their right mind even believes he's a villain. He is hilarious, though. Na Baekjin and his goons couldn't even get 2 seconds of fear because, once again, Human was hyped to the sky and beyond. Sung-ji was a decent villain to me because he didn't try to be deep. It was simple for him. Violence is fun, so therefore, I am going to be violent. That's something I can accept, plus this scene was hilarious. Don't try and sell me some bullshit narrative like Baekjin's. Just say it like it is. Then there's the friendship, which was the backbone of season 1. The friends didn't even really feel like friends. They used this cheap trope of them going volunteering together so that they would be stuck together and have to bond. None of that was needed in season 1. They felt like a genuine bunch of friends who were loyal to a fault because of the circumstances that had led them to each other. Human was also just really loud. I don't know if he thought being loud equaled charisma or something, but damn, was he loud. The most charismatic character was Shion Tak, in my opinion, but I like him best after the bully from the earlier episodes. Once again, I'm still bringing up talking points from my first review. We still don't understand what is up with Seyun and his parents or why he is the way he is. I know Bome Seok being in his mind while he was hospitalized was a visualization of his guilt and his fears. But even that fell short and just seemed like a ploy to draw viewers in because look, it's the guy from season 1. Also, the fuck-ass white truck trope. The writers of this season were really grasping at straws for something. At least I got to see Suho for 2 seconds. And even though I'm also pissed off about that, whatever. Beggars can't be choosers, can they? Now it's time for the ratings. Season 1 is an 8 out of 10. Season 2 is a 4 out of 10.